Okay, it's going to be in work.
Luca, if you need a better position for config, a reminder that we will be going starboard and nadir. We can do any of that motion or GCA that you required earlier.
No, actually, right now it's all good. I might be able to do everything from this position. It may be the most convenient.
Parmitano working to go into the foot restraint now. You're hearing the voice of Jessica Meir from the inside of the International Space Station. She's at the controls of the station's robotic arm. Once Parmitano is situated inside the robotics arm's foot restraint, Meir will navigate Parmitano with the new pump system in tow over to the worksite at the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer where the pump will be installed.
And then for the width, I have 7. And I'm going to, currently at Golf, I'm going to Alpha, is that correct?
Affirm, Luca. Those are all good numbers so far.
Okay, I got Alpha. And the clocking of the width is also 6.
Okay, those are good numbers.
Put
yeah, it's time to do your tether swap onto the arm.
work. Okay, my arm with the safety tether is locked black on black on the arm. And I'm ready to navigate back up. That's all good. It looks like I will need a little bit of GCA to really far away from here.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe just go ahead and ingress and then come toward me.
I have to drop my...
Yeah, absolutely.
My tether first.
Yep. And it looks like you'll have plenty of reach to get somewhere.
Okay. I think this position here is a pretty good one to draw my safety with my...
Yeah.
Luca, I'll take that handrail number where you dropped your safety tether if you see it.
It's actually... I don't see it. It's on the frame.
Okay.
It's the hoop. It's right below width 6.
Okay, that works, Luca.
It's the hoop
Thanks.
on the frame. So that I'm sorry, it's very convenient.
Sounds good.
Okay, now I'm going to ingress the arm. That makes sense.
Okay, copy that, Luca. And would you like that manual maneuver first, or do you want to go where you are?
I think it's easier if I just go where I am and then you drive.
Okay, copy. Brakes are still on.
Okay, that's good, Luca. The only other thing I wanted to talk to you about before you pick up the box is glove and a hap check, and then we'll check your glove heaters and cooling.
My heaters are both off. I did a glove check during, supposedly the LOS, and I have pristine gloves, and my hat is dry.
Okay, sounds good. Well played on the LOS glove check. It's clever. And the only other thing is lights.
Our lights are on.
I concur that my lights are both on.
This is Mission Control Houston. Parmitano still trying to navigate into the foot restraint. You can see him over on the right of your screen. He's wearing the suit with the red stripes.
Your VRT is kind of protecting.
He'll be in the foot restraint of the Canadarm2 throughout most of today's spacewalk, as the Canadarm2 will provide him the necessary access to all of the intricate work sites of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. To the left of the screen, Andrew Morgan holding the new pump system. Once Parmitano is in place, he'll hand that pump system over to Parmitano, who will ride the Canadarm2 over to the work site to have it installed, taking sort of the express elevator route to the alpha magnetic spectrometer, while Andrew Morgan goes back into the airlock, grabs some tools, and takes the stairs over to the Starboard 3 work site. On the top are the zenith facing, that's the space facing side of the International Space Station.
Okay, look, I'm going to give you that starboard motion. You're going to be going about a 1 meter station starboard.
Copy.
Bring motion.
That's good motion, good clearance from my perspective.
Concur, good motion.
All right, Luca, now I'm going to bring you station nadir about a meter.
Okay.
Starting motion.
That's good motion and good clearance.
Concur.
Jessica Meir at the controls of the station's robotic arm, maneuvering Parmitano, currently in the foot restraint. Background there, you can see the International Space Station 266 statute miles over the South Atlantic Ocean. What you're seeing is the east coast of Argentina.
You think you can lean forward to it?
Morgan now handing off the new pump system over to Parmitano.
You are VRT. Okay, Jessica. If you still have motion, I will take another half a meter starboard.
Okay, copy that, Luca. We'll give you another half a meter starboard.
I have a very good view of the arm and everything is clear.
Okay, we copy. Starting motion.
Motion.
Clear.
Continuing. Here's your half meter.
And it's a good position. Do you think you can lower it a little bit? Yeah, that's good. I have a red on it. You can release your red.
Okay, you have a red on it.
GCA complete, Jessica.
And you have
You stay complete.
You have a hand on
I have a hand on it, I have control.
You have control? My red is released, it's your pump.
It's my pump, I have control, I have a red, I have everything on it.
Okay, and if you want me to stand by to help any check on your, looks like you're rotating it just fine.
Yeah, I want you to check the AAX from your side.
Roger that.
Whenever you're ready. Yep.
Hey, they're looking good. I think the bundle is still attached, and 2 and 4 look to be tucked in like they were when we put it in. So, good.
A great view of Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm.
That APFR is the biggest thing right now. And I see your tethers all look good. And I see the tether, your safety tether you're leaving behind looks good. So,
one of my foot is out.
Okay, stand by. I'm going to get a hand on it.
I'm back in. I'm good.
Okay.
A great view of the pump system now next to the body of Parmitano. That new pump system, 350 pounds, about 159 kilograms.
They're locked, aren't they?
Let me have a...
Yeah, I'm locked. I'm locked.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Drew, you're picking up crew log bag 4 and heading out. Don't forget your poorman's fair lead at the Cedar Spur. Luca, you're on your way.
Jessica, your go for your maneuvers.
Okay, stand by, Luca. We have a few things to configure here before we get moving again.
Copy.
All right, I'm on the move. The work site.
Sure, the work site.
Parmitano set with the new pump in tow, awaiting for the next procedures for Jessica Meir to maneuver the arm to the work site. In the meantime, Morgan making his way back to the airlock. Inside will be a box of tools. First things first, they needed to move that new pump system over and work together to maneuver it over to that spot where it is now. Now, with some free hands, Morgan's going to make his way back to the airlock and grab some of the tools that are necessary to complete the work here at the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer.
Data looks good. Met rates look good, so we're in good shape.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Your next job is don't let go of the box and enjoy the view.
Two things are mutually exclusive because the view is blocked by the box, but I think I'll hold on to the box.
Okay, that's a good call.
Again, Parmitano with that new box in his hands. Of course, he'll have the Earth right underneath him. Now the International Space Station, 262 statute miles over the South Atlantic, making a northeasterly trip. Should hit the western border of Africa just about 20 minutes or so. That new box, though, 350 pounds, 159 kilograms. Inside, the intricate work being done on the ground to make sure everything, all of the connections would be easy, or at least as easy as possible for the two spacewalking astronauts. Some very fine parts that are difficult to work with gloves, but the teams on the ground were able to design systems to be easily integratable with the alpha magnetic spectrometer with minimal connections. The dimensions there, 42 inches by 32.25 inches by 16.25 inches. That's about 107 by 81 by 40 centimeters.
Good motion.
Copy, continuing.
And Parmitano on his way. His job is to essentially deliver that new pump to the alpha magnetic spectrometer by way of the Canadarm2. Morgan's job will be to retrieve some of the tools from the crew lock, that's the airlock of the International Space Station, some of the critical tools that will be needed to install the pump. One of the tools in tow by Parmitano is the pistol grip tool he'll use to drive bolts to install that pump. But some of the finer tools, specially designed for the repair of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, being retrieved by Morgan now.
I'm trying to reel out a fair lead there. Like it's going to stay.
Luca, we're ready to start this first JOCAS. It'll be 2 minutes.
Copy, 2 minutes JOCAS.
Starting motion.
As Parmitano makes his way up to the work site of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, we'll be taking some questions using the hashtag AskNASA. This one from Timmy, who's asking, what is the device with the gold dishes on the space station? Right now, that's at the bottom or the top left corner of your screen, just coming out of view now. Those are the solar arrays of the Cygnus cargo vehicle. That's the Cygnus CRS-12. That vehicle was the one that delivered the pump that you're seeing now in the hands of Luca Parmitano. Those are the Ultraflex solar arrays that are used while the Cygnus is in flight to the International Space Station. One of the many cargo vehicles that visit the International Space Station, delivering critical components like the one you're seeing right now in the hands of Luca Parmitano, and some of the tools and equipment that are used for the spacewalk itself.
Morning, Ricky.
Parmitano undergoing some of the maneuvers by Jessica Meir. Jessica Meir at the hands of the robotic arm, maneuvering Luca Parmitano over to the work site.
Hold. Give us a moment while we load the next JOCAS.
Copy, standing by.
Just off screen from this view is Luca Parmitano. At the end of the robotic arm, you can see the latching end effector of the robotic arm, essentially the hand. That gold structure off to the side, that's the articulating portable foot restraint, the APFR. You'll hear that acronym a few times. That's the foot restraint that's currently holding Luca Parmitano. Off in the distance, that's Andrew Morgan with tools in tow on his way to the work site, the alpha magnetic spectrometer. From this view, you can see just off to the top there, that white structure on the very top of the truss, just before the solar rays that are pointing to the top right. 50 minutes into today's spacewalk. Everything on track so far.
We're ready for the next JOCAS. This one's going to be 3.5 minutes.
Copy.
Ready motion.
As Parmitano makes his way to the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer worksite, on the top right you see the external pallet delivered by the HTV-8. That's the H2 transfer vehicle, a Japanese cargo vehicle that delivered lithium-ion batteries earlier this year. That pallet still has 3 lithium-ion batteries attached to it. Some of the nickel-hydrogen batteries from one of the space station's power channels are already on that pallet. The rest will be installed next year.
I'm at the work site.
Okay, Drew. Crew lock bag 4 is going down the LC, and then you can set up the bags in the APFR.
In work.
Andrew Morgan reporting that he's already at the work site. Parmitano you see at the end of the station's robotic arm. He's carrying the highlighted component of today. That's that new pump that'll give the alpha magnetic spectrometer the life it needs. That's a cooling pump and will allow the alpha magnetic spectrometer to continue to collect particles throughout the life of this station.
Okay, that's position hold. 1 moment while we load the next showcast.
Copy.
Jessica Meir working at the controls of the robotic arm, currently holding and waiting that next position. In the meantime, we'll continue to answer Ask NASA questions. Keep using the hashtag AskNASA to send them in. This question comes from David. David's asking, how does the alpha magnetic spectrometer collect particles? A very good question. The key word there in alpha magnetic spectrometer is magnetic. There's a very powerful magnet inside the alpha magnetic spectrometer, significantly more powerful than the magnetic field of the Earth even. And what the magnet does is as cosmic rays and other cosmic particles pass through the alpha magnetic spectrometer, the magnet allows those particles to spin in a certain direction, a certain speed, a certain diameter. And that spin can be calculated and measured inside the AMS as a data point, one of several billion. The alpha magnetic spectrometer is essentially gathering data with this magnet, measuring that spin and what kinds of particles. Depending on the direction of the spin and the mass of the particle itself, they can detect whether it's an electron or perhaps an antimatter like positron. Both of the same mass, but if they spin in different directions, it's a data point for...
No doubt, as are we. Did you make use of that adjustable there for the fair lead as well?
A data point for more of the cosmic particles.
As soon as I get the bag packed down.
That may reveal the origins of the universe. In the meantime, Parmitano is still making his way over to the alpha magnetic spectrometer, the white structure you see sort of at the top of the truss there, just before the solar arrays. That's the S3 truss, that's where the alpha magnetic spectrometer is housed. Morgan already there, getting his tool situated, getting ready for Parmitano, making sure everything's set for when he arrives. First thing to do would be to install that new pump system.
Position hold, Luca. We'll now load the next geocast.
Copy.
They're leaded down. Large, small ruts are on the bags.
From this view, you can see the feet of Andrew Morgan poking out near the work site. That's the alpha magnetic spectrometer. You can see AMS on the blanket there. He's working his tether configuration and making sure that he's all set up, since they'll be there for the entirety of today's spacewalk. Not too far behind Luca Parmitano, you can see making his way at the end of the station's robotic arm over to the alpha magnetic spectrometer. The new pump in tow, that'll be the first task once they get over to the alpha magnetic spectrometer, installing that box. Much of the prep work has already been done on a previous spacewalk. This prep work includes installing a mechanical attachment device. This is the device that will hold the new pump system, routing some of the cables that'll be connected to the new pump system, and cutting some of the tubes that'll be connected to the new pump system.
Starting motion.
And lead yaw 12.
Okay, copy that, Drew.
Stand by, Luca, starting in 5 seconds.
Copy. All right, motion.
Great communication by the crew aboard the International Space Station. Jessica Meir inside at the controls of the station's robotic arm.
At some point.
You're hearing Jeremy Hansen, the ground IV. He's the voice here in Mission Control Houston to the spacewalking astronauts.
I reported that the bags are still here then. I just power cycled it.
Okay, thanks, Drew. And if you get a chance, check your mirror and see if you have a green light.
I got a green light now. Yeah, green light.
Thanks.
Parmitano continuing to make his way over. Once at the worksite, Parmitano from this angle will be positioned sort of upside down, his head pointing towards the Earth. Morgan, on the other hand, will be on the nadir side, on the bottom side of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, his head facing towards space. Parmitano's job will be to insert the new box into the mechanical attachment device that had been installed on the previous spacewalk. And it'll be Morgan's job to help guide Parmitano and the box into the mechanical attachment device. There's a soft dock and a bolt. That bolt fits perfectly with the mechanical attachment device and allows for a good alignment.
Position hold. We'll load the next showcast.
It sort of just holds the box in place to allow for the a stable position and allow for the data and power connections to be routed to the specified locations on the box. That'll be the next task once it's installed. Now getting a view from the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano. You can see some of the attachments for data and power on from the view of Luca Parmitano's helmet camera.
All right, Luca, the next JOCAS will be 3.5 minutes.
Copy, ready.
Starting motion.
Okay, I put crew lock back 4 under the fish stringer.
Okay. And that's in the green bag then?
Yeah, fish stringer and green bag.
Okay, copy.
Transfer red.
A little more than an hour into today's spacewalk, starting at 5:31 a.m. Central Time. Morgan already situated at the work site. Parmitano almost there on his way currently. Again, he'll be positioned sort of upside down from this view to allow him access to install the box that's currently in tow, that 350-pound new pump system. Parmitano almost at the worksite to install that new box. Again, throughout today's broadcast, we'll be answering questions using the hashtag AskNASA. As Parmitano makes his way to the worksite, he's practiced this plenty of times on the ground. Michelle asks, what are the procedures for practicing the spacewalks and how are the situations simulated in the interior of the space station?
And then we will be bringing you station Nadir 2 meters. So Drew, that will be bringing him down toward EMS.
Okay, copy. So toward his head.
Confirm.
Okay, Luca, we're already going to need a little bit of lean back. And missing's just off to your left. And that's good lean right there, and you'll be able to see with that lean back, you'll be able to see that you're able to clear AMS. It is at about maybe half a meter. It's perfect. It's perfect. Let's do that.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, Drew and Luca, we're ready for motion.
Ready for motion.
All right, starting motion.
Morgan, from his angle, providing some insight.
Copy.
The view from Parmitano blocked by the 42 by 32 by 16 inch new pump. Still in constant communication with Jessica Meir at the controls of the Canadarm2. assisted by Christina Cook.
Okay, I would say stop motion here.
Stopping motion.
Okay, so Luca, hold that right there. So we're really close to AMS, and so I think the next thing that we need to do is go toward DLC, toward your back, about a half meter. Right now, you don't have the room to put the pump in front of you. We need to give you some more clearance.
So I can lean back more. So I would say let it drive to the position, then we'll go to my right,
okay.
And I'll lean back, rather than drive the arm. I can lean back here, I can do this.
Okay.
And then I can split the pump.
Okay, copy. Stand by, and I'm going to move over to AMS then.
It'll be 40 centimeters to go to the published position.
And Jessica, I think I'll take those.
Okay, copy. And Drew, are you ready as well?
We're going to go continue 40 centimeters towards your head. Okay. All right, I'm ready for motion.
Starting motion.
Morgan providing that critical guidance.
Good motion, good clearance.
Working in tandem with Jessica Mira, the controls of the robotic arm, assisted by Cook inside the International Space Station, Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm. Right now, they're trying to get into a position to dock the new pump system to.
The big concern is just we're radiator to AMS right now, and I think you're going to need a little bit of back off, but did you want to accept this?
I think I will accept it. Jessica, I'll take 40 centimeters to my right.
Okay, copy. We need to get into the snapshot mode, so give us a minute, and then we'll get to that.
You have eyes on the map?
I do.
Okay. All right, you're going to feel me I'm going to be giving it gentle guides here, just to keep it from bumping into a handrail, but we're looking real good.
All right, thanks.
Showed up a lot quicker today.
Okay, Luca, we are ready. We're going to give you that 40 centimeters to your right, and Drew, the clearance for you will be Luca's right shoulder to the ROU.
Copy. I have a good view of it.
Okay, starting motion.
Okay, good motion.
Okay, good motion.
Good clearance.
That's 20.
Preview.
That's 40.
And GCA complete.
Okay, copy. GCA complete.
Brakes
Would you like
on.
the brakes on now as well?
Yes, please.
Okay, stand by. Brakes are on.
I do. I'm going to lean back.
Right.
And then I'm going to pitch the pump down. And then I'm going to need a little bit of guidance from you.
I'm going to put a hand on it.
Yep.
Just going to feel my tugs.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
As you're working that, guys,
over.
a reminder not to impart loads from both of you into either the AMS or the OC at the same time.
Okay, copy.
Copy.
All right. Luca, come toward your right just a touch. Right? And then advance in X. Come back this way. Come back toward your head, and back away just a touch. You get a better hand on it. Okay. All right. Let's drive in a little bit. Okay. And you're over the soft dock. Give it a push. Okay. And hold that right there. In the soft dock, I'm just going to do some checks here. Here. Okay. All right, so the AAFs are clear of the docking envelope, and I can see 2 and 4. I think we should be able to pull it down past the vacuum case handrail there. Okay, yeah. All right, we're in soft dock, and I see everything is clear. The wires, cables look good on your end. Are you able to see around the cables?
I can't see the yes.
Good?
Yeah,
Gentlemen, we're handing over here. We'll be back in about 40 seconds. You can get the PGT ready. Talk to you on the other side.
Okay.
Okay. Good work, Luke.
Good work to you too, bro. Hey.
All right.
Now experiencing a handover of some of that communication from the International Space Station. Video and audio should be regaining audio shortly. Might take a little bit longer for the video to regain. What you were seeing was Luca Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm. In tow, he brought the new pump system for the alpha magnetic spectrometer. This new pump system will be used for cooling the experiment, the cosmic particle collector on board the International Space Station. So far, this is the third spacewalk in a series of spacewalk designed for repairing this experiment, this box being the critical component of all the work that's been done so far.
Okay, that sounds good, guys. We're Bravo 7 clockwise 2 following the CAL on the PGT.
I'll be in work.
What you heard was Morgan and Parmitano working together to push that new system into place. It's been pushed into place, now working with Jeremy Hansen here in Mission Control Houston. That's the voice you're hearing from this room. He's helping the two astronauts through the next steps for programming that space drill, the pistol grip tool, that'll be used for securing the new box into place.
We were going to stage it on the Nadir vacuum case handrail.
Okay, one more time. I have Bravo 7 clockwise 2.
Okay, good settings.
Correct.
And we're going to drive all 4 bolts, 4 turns initially, and give us a best effort on an accurate count for those first 4 turns in an X pattern.
Okay. Okay, starting with bolt number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, copy.
And I have low torque right now. And the count, I don't have a count a rev here. No count, didn't count the rev.
Yeah, but I counted you at the 7/16. So I had you at 4.
Same here. Okay, good for number 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're hearing Luca Parmitano count the number of turns used by the space drill, making sure that that new box is secured to its position. Much of the work that follows will be making sure that the data and power cables are connected, and to use some of the fittings that are secured to the outside of the box. These are the AAFs. These are the alternate fittings used to connect the tubes that have been already cut on previous spacewalks.
1, 2, 3, 4 turns on 2.
Okay, and now,
start again.
sounds good. We're going to final torque, and we're expecting an additional 4 to 6 turns.
Okay, I need to position it.
Just watch that contact on the handrail.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 5 turns, but I still have a low torque. Try and get a green light.
Let's stand by. Let's see what they had to say.
Yep, no, I got a green light. It was less than a quarter of a turn, so a total of 5 and 1/4.
Okay, that's right in the window, 9 turns total.
And I read 23.9. 9 and 1/4.
Okay.
Okay, going for number 4.
And I see the black line is flush.
4 bolts total for Parmitano to drive. 3 have already been completed. Parmitano working on that last bolt.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.5. Green light, 25.5.
Okay, copy that, Luca.
Going for number 3. Total 9.5. Going for number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and 1/4. Green light, 25.3.
Looking good over here.
And number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 turns and 1/4. Green light, 25.6.
Okay, those are all good, Luca. You can remove the scoop, hand it back to Drew. We're handing over here in about a minute. Drew, you're looking for the cap keepers next out of crew lock bag 4.
And all 4 lines look good as well.
Okay, yeah, that seemed like a real clean install. Sounds good. Drew, that scoop, when you get it from Luca, is going in green bag fish stringer hook 1.
Okay. Hook 1.
Talk to you on the other side of this LOS in about 30 seconds.
Now in a handover of some of those tracking and data relay satellite communications that provide video and audio from the International Space Station. Should be regaining audio communications here in just a few seconds, video communications after that. So far, Parmitano and Morgan have made their way to the work site and completed the setup. They brought the tools and the new pump over to the alpha magnetic spectrometer. Now working to install the pump. That's the next in their task list. They've docked it to its ports and they've driven all 4 bolts that hold it into place. The installation will be sort of complete once all the cables have been routed. That includes data and power. That'll be the primary job of Luca Parmitano, who has good access from the end of the station's robotic arm. In the meantime, Andrew Morgan will be working on some of the preparations for that next step, which is to connect or swage some of the tubes. This will be the primary time constraint for the spacewalk today. Requires intricate work for tiny tubes using a swage connector.
All right, Luca, you'll take the cap keeper from Drew, and then you need to retrieve the power and data cables that you temp stowed on the ROU, and then we're going to remove the cap.
I have them I have them in reach. Yeah, in a good position for me to install them. I have the cap keeper.
Okay, all right, great. You can remove all 4 caps and call them out.
Cap keeper to Luca.
Here's the red back.
And the red back.
Okay, I'm removing J1 from the pump.
Regaining some of that communication from the International Space Station. Some of the views here you're seeing getting a little darker. International Space Station flying 263 statute miles in an orbital nighttime just over Mongolia.
And J1, he's got good pins.
Copy.
For J2.
From the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano, you can tell by the translucent numbers at the bottom right of the screen. He'll be helmet camera number 11 for today's spacewalk. He's again positioned upside down, so some of the markings there are upside down from his view. But right there in front of him are some of the connectors he'll use. The data cables and power cables have been pre-routed into position, allowing him access to just make the connections from there. Those pre-routing procedures took place during the previous spacewalk.
This one is it's T2, which goes to J2. Retrieving the cap.
Okay, that's right.
Okay, cap removed. And on this side, I have no FOD, a good EMI band. Do you want me to retrieve the other cables first before I install J2, or can I install J2?
Here, go to install J2, Luca. It goes to P2.
Please go to install P2 to P2.
That's it. Just double check the no FOD pins and EMI for us.
Yeah, one more time. On J2, I have good pins, no FOD. And on P2, I have no FOD and a good EMI band.
Okay, go to mate.
Okay, mate. Mate. And overset the lever forward. Full test.
All right, good stuff. All right, next you can do P1. Drew, I see we just got WVS back on both of you, so that's good news for us. I see you working the tool board. And then having one mini workstation red available for the plugs, should already have. And Drew, cap keepers from crew up bag 3. It's all swaging items.
Roger, all available.
Yeah, good pins, no FOD, and good EMI band on J1 and T1.
Okay, go to mate.
And ready to connect with your girl.
Go to mate.
You work.
This is Mission Control Houston from the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano, making those connections. The power and data cables were routed on a previous spacewalk to allow easy access for Parmitano to make the connections. Now that the UTTPS, the Upgraded Tracker Thermal Pump System, is the name of the new pump system that's currently installed by 4 bolts on the outside of the AMS. That'll be its home for the remainder of the life of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. Now just making those power and data connections. Mission Control will power it up, just make sure everything's good to go on the pump system and everything's working. And then they'll move on to the swaging of tubes. That's connecting the tubes that have been cut on a previous spacewalk. Drew Morgan standing by for preparations on that task.
IVA on the UTTPS to tether those wires.
Work.
We picked the right corner, Luca.
I sure did.
Okay, Luca, you've got everything connected. We're going to power up the box if you're good with that.
I'm very happy with that. Crossing my fingers, crossing my gloved finger and my booted toes.
The moment of truth. Luca Parmitano make those power connections. From here in Mission Control, Houston, working with the Payload Operations Center in Marshall Space Flight Center, they'll check the power of the box, make sure everything is working.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do. I'll take a glove check while you're at it.
Okay. I uncrossed my gloves and they are still pristine. I do see there was a little bit of discoloration from one of the captain cables, but it's gone. And other than that, they are pristine. No changes, no deltas. Good hack. Bye.
Okay, you can grab your PGT. We're going to set Alpha 4, clockwise 1.
Alpha 4, clockwise 1.
Yeah, and I miscalled that, Luca. It's counter 1. Alpha 4, counter 1.
Alpha 4, counter 1. Okay, Alpha. Counter 1.
While the pump system is still powering up, Luca Parmitano preparing that space drill for the next set of tasks.
Alpha 4, counter 1.
Okay, those are good settings. You can stand by. And you are now go to open the refill valve. This is important though, Luca. It's not to hard stop. We're only going 1 to 1 1/4 turns.
Okay, Drew.
How copy, Luca? You got that? 1 to 1 1/4 turns only?
1 to 1 1/4.
That's it. And then you'll read the turns, and we're just curious what torque value you're going to get, but it'll be a low torque.
Okay.
Okay, and stand by, Luca. So I got a good view of the black line, so I can call the stop.
Okay, so do I.
Okay, great.
Ready? Let's go. Starting.
Great.
One turn. And the torque is 2.3.
Okay, we got it. 1 turn, 2.3. Good job. All right, you're handing that PGT over to Drew. Drew, you're putting it in the green bag. Fish stringer hook 6. And then you're ready to...
I'm going to give you...
Yeah, I have a red on it.
Okay. And I'm keeping these reps, Drew, so that then I have it for the camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have it. And on.
Parmitano completing the use of that pistol grip tool, handing off to Andrew Morgan, standing by.
You're heading to the VSB.
Drew, do you want to give me the camera later?
I can give it to you, сейчас.
Are you ready for brakes off?
You can go brakes off, Jessica.
Okay, copy. I'm going to take brakes off, and then the first thing we'll do is get set up to take out that 40 centimeters. So I'll bring you 40 centimeters to your left.
Stand by for that.
No, we do have a ret on here for you already.
Okay, that's too many. You think you can get rid of that one?
I can. But I don't think we want to delay the... It's going to take me a second, so I'd say go ahead with the okay.
All right.
Okay.
And Jessica, you go for motion. Jessica, you copy?
And Luca, stand by. We're actually going to get set up that we're just going to not have to take out that input. We're just going to have to bring you back to Station Zenith.
Copy.
For our bookkeeping, the small ret associated with GoPro and Crew Lockback 4 is going to stay, and we're going to use because PGT ret and the integral.
Okay, copy that, Drew.
Okay, Luca, and we are ready for that motion. If you are, it'll be bringing you Station Zenith, same as before, so a little bit less than 2 meters.
Stand by. 30 seconds.
Copy.
Jessica, you go for motion.
Okay, and Drew, you ready with the clearances as well?
Ready.
Okay, starting motion, Station Zenith.
That, there you go. Now lean forward, Luca. That's good.
So now that Parmitano has made those connections of power and data cables from this position, sort of upside down from the perspective of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, Jessica Meir now maneuvering the station's robotic arm. She'll position him essentially in the opposite direction. He'll be turned around and facing right side up, which will allow him great access to some of the tubes. That'll be the next part of the task. Those tubes have already been cut on the previous spacewalk using a rough cutter. There'll be the rough cut tubes will be clean cut to allow them to be a nice uniform shape, and then start the swaging process. The swaging devices, the alternate fitting, are currently on the box. They'll be taken off and installed one by one on the tubes that are cut. Once they're clean cut and have a nice round shape to them, and measured using some of the tools that have been specifically designed for this spacewalk, including a straightener. That's also a straightener and a measuring device. Before we get to that, Parmitano still making his way over to the worksite. Morgan standing by with all the tools in hand.
position, hold. Luca, we'll load the next JOCAS.
Copy.
So again, Parmitano making his way over to the new position.
Yeah, we're looking real good. No issues on that front so far.
How about time?
Also good. I'm not going to give you any bad news. You can keep asking me, but I'm just going to tell you it's good. We're looking great.
Just like to hear it.
Parmitano positioned essentially upside down with his head facing towards the Earth to give him good access to that work site, connecting those power and data cables, all complete. The new box installed onto the alpha magnetic spectrometer. The next more complicated set of tasks include swaging some of the tubes that have been cut on a previous spacewalk. Those tubes were rough cut and capped off and labeled so that Parmitano will know which tube goes where. There's 8 total. 6 of them will be at the work site that that he's heading to right now. That's at that vertical support beam, one of the best points of entry for accessing the tubes and connecting to the new box. The other 2 tubes will be, Parmitano will have to be repositioned to another point of the alpha magnetic spectrometer.
We have good insight into the new pump box. We got good power, good pressure, and we can tell the refill valve is open. So that's excellent.
All right, that warms my tips and glove heaters. And the gloves are good shape, no changes, no deltas, good happen.
Good news, weed shows that we can tear things apart and build them back up.
Yeah, we got a little ways to go yet, but we agree. We're looking good. How about a glove and half from you, Drew?
Gloves are no change, and the half is dry.
Here's position, hold. Luca, we'll load the next JOCAS.
Copy, standing by.
Drew, how are you doing for time? Or there's a potential get-ahead task if you have the space and time to do it.
Name the task. Was this to take a look at the mud flap?
No, we're not going to do that today. It would be to have you go up and look at the tube restraint blanket by the AAS and see if you can remove that. We're going to have Luca do it as soon as he gets there, unless you can reach it.
Roger, let me take a look.
Luca, ready to start this JOCAS, 1.5 minutes.
Copy.
Motion.
Jessica Meir continuing to maneuver the station's robotic arm. At the end, Luca Parmitano being repositioned to his new work site to work on those 6 tubes for swaging, essentially connecting them to the new box. You heard reports from the ground here in Mission Control Houston. That new box powered up, pressure's good. Everything's working as planned so far. Ahead of the timeline at this point, giving Drew Morgan enough time to do a get-ahead task, maybe get some work done before Luca Parmitano gets to his new work site.
Yeah, this is a nice to do, so use your judgment here. We're not too concerned about saving the 30 seconds.
So watch out for the number 7 there.
Yeah, this is 7 here. Wait a little bit, but
Jeremy, I'm right here. So
Yep, no issues.
I'm ready to go into the position.
Okay. Your call, guys.
yeah, let me back out of the way.
Yeah, so I'm right here.
Okay, here's position, hold. We're going to switch over to manual for the next maneuver.
Ready.
Okay, Luca, this is going to be bringing you a little bit less than a meter station forward, so for you up.
Copy.
Okay, ready for motion?
Ready for motion.
Okay, starting motion.
Motion.
Copy, 50 to go.
Okay, this is where you get real close to blue plate, but I see you clear. To your left a little bit. Or your right? So, nope, your left. That's good. Repeat.
There's your position.
Copy.
Luca, this next motion is going to be bringing you in toward the VSP worksite.
Copy. Ready.
Starting motion.
You're getting a live view from the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano.
Motion.
Copy, 10 degrees to go.
Good clearance. It's your left shoulder.
Starting to come into view, you can see those tubes all capped off, those silver circles there. There's 6 of them that Parmitano will have to work with. He'll be in a good position.
That position, we're going to switch over to snapshot, and then we will go with the published GCA inputs that we have.
Excellent.
Okay, Luca, we are all set up. First input is going to be a roll to your right, 15 degrees.
Copy. That will help with my clearance.
Okay, ready for motion?
Ready for motion.
Starting motion.
Clearance.
And Drew, you're watching Luca and the APFR to the row U.
Copy.
Halfway there now.
Copy.
Continuing to work through the procedures to grant Luca Parmitano access to the VSB, that's the vertical support beam worksite. The vertical support beam.
Roll, now I'm going to be coming to your right about 30 centimeters.
Copy.
And Drew, you'll be looking at the clearance from Luca to AMS.
Copy, I have the clearance.
Starting motion.
The vertical support beam underneath was those tubes Support beam was removed and jettisoned overboard, allowing access to the tubes, which have been rough cut and capped off on the previous spacewalk. Parmitano will be spending the majority of today's spacewalk here at this worksite.
And Drew, for you, that's going to be the boot plate and the wrist to the diagonal beam.
Copy. I have them in sight.
Copy. Starting motion.
Good motion, good clearance.
Okay, there's your published, and now I'm going to roll you further another 15 degrees to the right.
Stand by.
Standing by.
Is that the last motion?
No, what we have for the published would be continuing your roll another 15 degrees to the right, pitching you down about 8 degrees, and then bringing you in 40 centimeters.
Okay, then continue.
Copy. I'll start with the roll to the right. And Drew, same as before, and that will be Luca and the APFR to the ROU.
Copy.
Starting motion.
Good motion and good clearance.
Continuing.
Jessica Meir on the inside of the space station at the controls of the robotic arm, assisted by Christina Cook. Maneuvering Luca Parmitano into position at the worksite next to the tubes. He'll spend the majority of his time there, working with his intricate set of specially designed tools to clean, cut, and swage or connect the tubes to the new pump box. As these maneuvers are underway, we're looking forward to sunrise in about 4 minutes.
Clearance.
Copy. Okay, Luca, that is the end of the pitch. Now I'm going to bring you in, body in, 40 centimeters.
Okay, copy.
And Drew, this will be, of course, Luca's clearance to AMS.
Copy.
Starting motion.
Clearance.
3, 2, 1, stop motion.
Copy motion, and that is right at our published.
Wow. Okay. We are ready. GCA complete.
GCA complete.
Okay, Drew.
And you're ready for the next
Luca
step.
needs a MWS RET from you. The sun will be coming up here in just a minute or two. And a warning here, Luca, reminding you about the sharp edges, the nut plates on the back of the IPA and the VSB.
Copy.
Luca, we will leave the brakes off unless you tell us otherwise.
Thank you.
Okay, Luca, as you receive that RET from Drew, you're going to put it on the tube restraint blanket, and then you can release the integral hook that's on the UTTPS. It's on the forward handrail, and remove the blanket. Remember, a reminder about the Velcro saver. We want to make sure it all stays on.
Copy. Copy all, drivers.
This is going in the green bag, correct? All right.
That's right, hook 5. Next thing you're getting ready, Drew, is the 7/8 wrench.
From the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano, you see him holding on to that box he just installed, the new pump box. Removing the blanket that's revealing some of the tubes that will be used to connect here very shortly.
It doesn't look like a burrito to him. It looks like a cannoli siciliani.
It's a very mean to say right now, but thanks. They're both delicious.
No doubt. I'm sure he's happy-go-lucky about that. All right, Luca, so you're looking for picking your first AAF that you're going to use today. Reminder on those, as you pull them out, grab behind the AAF so you don't inadvertently rotate the swage setting.
Copy. Okay, the first one out is number 6.
Okay. It's 6. And Luca, do you see the Velcro saver on all 3 sides is still in place? We can see some of it in your WVS.
I did check aft side over here. I cannot really see the bottom, but I do see the beginning and the end of it being flat. So I see 3 out of 4 sides.
Okay, copy that.
Velcro saver.
That's good. So we copy you've got tube 6. You can go ahead and remove the MLI. Drew, we need a RET for the plug. And you can report the initial numbers, Luca.
So, one by one, Luca Parmitano will remove the covers from the tubes, revealing the alternate fitting underneath. This alternate fitting will be the tool that you'll hear a lot during these next few steps to do each tube one by one. This is the tool that will be used to connect the tubes that are currently capped off to the new pump box. That bolt you see in the middle will be turned by a wrench, and that'll complete the swaging technique, essentially pinching the tubes, mating them together, and allowing the flow of carbon dioxide for the cooling of the alpha magnetic spectrometer.
Okay, the first setting that I see before even removing anything, I have Foxtrot 7. The line, black line,
okay.
In place.
As expected, Foxtrot 7's good. You open the handle, you can secure it with a wrench, and then you can open the VLI.
Temporarily, this retaining blanket, I'm going to put it over at the red bag just to keep it really busy at the green bag, so I think I'm just going to put it over there for a little while.
Okay. Are you putting it in the red bag or just near it?
Nothing's really in a bag per se right now, but in the general vicinity of it, it's on the lid.
Okay. Understood.
Okay. I did one turn back after fully releasing the VLI. I still have a Foxtrot 7, no changes. Closing it back.
Okay. Good job, Luca. It's like you practiced this. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and perform the clean cut. Let's make sure we get the right one. So tube 6.
Cutter staged here for you, Luke, when you're ready.
All right.
Okay, and let's, we'll need it. And you don't need to put the MLI back on, Luca.
Yeah, I'm just trying to position it so that I can move it.
Okay, we want to ret to cap 6.
Ret for cap.
Drew, make sure the clean cutter is prepped.
Clean cutter's set.
From the helmet camera of Andrew Morgan, Morgan's job is to work with the tool board containing all of the necessary tools for Luca Parmitano, who has the best access to the worksite right now. Those little tubes to be cut by a clean cutter. There's the one on the top right here. A very intelligently designed cutter. The knob on the back there will be used to cut the tube uniformly across the entire surface, allowing for no imperfections and a nice clean cut, why it's called the clean cutter. And that allows it to be mated to that alternate fitting for a good swage or a good connection for a tight seal. There's the clean cutter right now, so you can turning the knob there for a nice clean cut. The cap at the end secured by a tether, so whenever the tube is cut, the tether will pull away the cap.
Yeah, we're watching you, Luca. You're doing all the right things. We had the same questions down here. You're reading our mind.
Yeah, I was spinning. There we go. Okay.
Okay, that looks good, Luca. Now the extraordinary patience required part. And warning, as that does cut, we want you to avoid contact with the ends of the tube.
Again, Parmitano working with those specially designed tools. This is a very delicate part of the procedures to clean cut the tube.
With just one tube.
As Jeremy Hansen here in Mission Control Houston mentions, it's a delicate procedure and time-consuming.
Great on time today, so we'll just take our time with this. This is exactly what we came out to do today. Drew, next is the straightener.
tube 6, or cap for tube 6 back to me.
Nice.
Okay, here's the straightener. We'll see how this works coming off the board.
A nice clean cut by Parmitano. Tube 6, the first of 6 for this work site. The next thing he's doing is using another tool specially designed for the spacewalk called the tube straightener. Does exactly what it sounds like. Make sure that tube is straight for the length that's specified in the straightener. What he'll do is he'll straighten it. He'll mark it off with some capped-on tape. That tape will mark how far it is to be pushed into the alternate fitting for swaging.
Okay, and we'll need tape next, Drew.
Okay.
The length must be very precise for a good swage, making sure that the connection of the tubes is good, that it's tight and sealed
I see one problem with
to allow the flow of carbon dioxide.
it's restricting how we can answer the tape here. Okay, I have one here for real number 7, Tamara George.
Number 7, Tamara George, coming off the board.
Looks like it came off cleanly.
So as you put that tape on, just make sure we're all the way in the window, Luca, on the straightener.
I'm going to double check on the outside gauge.
Copy that.
The tape is all the way touching the edge, so it's perfect gauge.
Okay, excellent. So now you can line up the AAF with the tube. We'll double check the numbers and then insert it.
Okay, I confirm I have Foxtrot 7.
Okay, that's as expected, Luca.
Tube 6 has been clean cut and marked off with tape, using the clean cutter and the straightener to get it ready for swaging with the alternate fitting.
Okay, I'm inside the AAF, and I'm about past the black line. I'm about half an inch still to go.
Okay.
I want to force it more than that. It's definitely in past the line.
Okay, Luca. We're handing over in 30 seconds, Luca, so you can go ahead and get ready to swage, but how about you wait for us on the other side before you actually turn the wrench?
You might. Yes, we'll do that.
Now in the middle of a short handover period, you're getting a look at the inside of the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Teams here looking over the International Space Station systems as well as the procedures for today's spacewalk. Teams here led by Flight Director Emily Nilsson. The voice you're hearing is Jeremy Hansen, the ground IV, communicating with the crew from here in Mission Control Houston. At the forward end of the screen, you see Jeff Radigan, who was the flight director for the first 2 spacewalks. Emily Nelson will be taking over for the next 2.
Okay, Luca, we're back with you. So keeping an eye on the tape and making sure it doesn't move out of the AAF at all. That's the key point here, especially since we're already half an inch out. Your go ahead to give it 1 turn clockwise.
Clockwise, numbers increase.
Okay, keep an eye on the tape. We don't have WVS, so you guys, it's all on you to watch the tape.
I have good eyes on the tape.
Regaining some video communications from the International Space Station. Luca Parmitano undergoing the swaging
Luca, is what you're looking for. Just
of the tubes.
We're back on WVS. Everything looks good.
You see him using a wrench with the alternate fitting, that AAF. Here's the tool he's using now. There's a little bolt in the middle there, all numbered, doing a very small turn, and all he's doing is just pinching that tube to the alternate fitting to ensure a good fit and good flow of carbon dioxide. Just a simple 7/8 of an inch wrench there. A small turn, but it should ensure a good fit. He'll have to do this 6 times at this work site.
I have Foxtrot 7 up and fish. The tape hasn't moved. I have a good full test.
Okay, good. Great swage. Next is to tighten the VLI handle. Remember, give it a good firm tighten. And then we'll cycle the cap, close everything up. And I don't know how we didn't really talk about this, about taking a photo of these prior to putting the MLI on. I don't know if that's practical or not. But we are doing reasonable on time today. That seemed to go pretty smooth, so we probably could take a photo.
Want a photo of what?
A photo of the AF before you pull the MLI over.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Nobody's actually asking you to do that. I just thought it was an idea you might want to take advantage of.
If the VLI is open still.
It's really close. I don't know if the camera is in a good position to focus on it.
Yeah, understood. GoPro might be the better way to capture these AAFs. I don't know if that's going to be handy or not for future ones, but this is fine for now.
Cycling the cap.
Okay. And I think I saw you tighten the VLI all the way.
I did. It was all tight, and
all right. Cover it up with the MLI. We're done. 1 down. 7 to go.
and it was 6. Going up and away.
Okay. All right. That's great. So just a technique observation in case it's helpful. It looks like you're doing these like with the tube directly pointed at your chest. If that's awkward, don't be afraid to change the orientation of the tube coming out of the VSP.
Copy.
All right.
Okay,
Pick your next lucky tube.
I think next one is 7.
Okay, whatever one's convenient.
Next one will be 7.
Okay, we'll take 7.
7.
Drew, we need a ret.
For the plug.
This is Mission Control Houston. As mentioned, the first of 6 tubes on this work site are completed. There's 2 more on the other side to make 8 tubes. He'll basically be repeating the process 8 times for swaging the tubes to the new pump box.
I have Hotel 6.
Hotel 6 is a good number.
Okay, opening up.
Okay, I'm watching the WVS. Everything's looking good, Luca. To get the wrench on, you go to open the VLI.
I have to plug.
Okay, one turn back. And Hotel 6. There was a slight motion to a smaller number. So now the line is a little misaligned, but in the good direction. So I think I'm not going to do anything.
Yep, it's a good call, Luca. All right, you can set that aside. Now we need to ret to tube 7.
Yeah, ret ready.
Drew, you can get the clean cutter ready.
Clean cutter is ready.
Okay, ret.
All right, ret for 7. Clean cutter is right in front there, and it's set. Okay, we have a ret on the cap. Here's clean cutter, it's set.
Drew, next is the straightener.
Cap back to the main. See the straightener back. Here's the straightener. Here's the straightener. It's got the clean cutter.
Clean cutting for tube number 7 complete. Going to repeat the process for each of these tubes using the straightener to make sure it's nice and even for the length of the swaging needed.
Ready for tape.
Marked off with tape and then connected to the swage, the alternate fitting.
Nice straight tubes.
What do we have, Drew?
Okay, here's One right here, that's got serial number 23, Terra Yoakum.
Say number 23, Terra, you're on. Safety's on, and I'm going to go on the outer gauge to judge it. And again, I'm right on the edge.
Okay, Luca.
Okay, I still have Hotel 6 still in place.
Okay, I heard Hotel 6, Luca. That's a good number.
Hotel 6. That's a good number.
Now you can align them and insert it.
Okay, this one is maybe a little less than a quarter of an inch from the line.
Okay, we copy, Luca. That looks good. Your go ahead. Well, as long as you monitor that tape, your go to swage, one turn.
Copy. Work.
The cap and the plug are retained on the cap keeper's read.
Okay, copy, Drew.
No motion.
Spacewalkers ahead of the timeline, 2 hours 23 minutes into today's spacewalk. Parmitano working to swage or connect the tubes that were cut previously on the last spacewalk and clean cut just prior to this swaging.
Hotel 6, take a pull check.
A quarter of an inch. I have a good pull check.
All right, tighten VLI.
And work. Cycle cap. Close the VLI. The handle.
Have a picture if you can.
Dude, you have the camera.
I do. The problem is their shoulder is kind of between me and a good shot. Let me see.
We're doing good on time. What about grabbing the GoPro, Luca? Do you have it on your swing arm still or not?
It's on my swing arm. Yeah.
Can you get it off for you?
You can pass me yours.
It's easier for me to actually pop yours on and off than mine, and yours is running non-front right now.
Okay.
While he's doing that, Luca, let's see if he can help our view out a little bit so we can back you up. That tube 6 that you have up there, just push it off to your left.
This one?
Yeah.
It's just right in the WVS when you lean forward into your work envelope.
So here's 7 right there.
Yeah, that should help. Thanks. If you just push that one down, I don't know if that'll be in your work envelope, Luca, or not, instead of up. Yeah, that's fine too. That works great.
It's easier where I have it, if you don't mind.
No, we'll work with it for sure. Okay, let's pick the next one.
Going down, so yeah, I'm going for number 3. Are you ready for red? Not quite.
2 tubes down of the 6 that are at this work site, tubes 6 and 7. Parmitano working on 3. Tubes 2 and 4 on the other side of the alpha magnetic spectrometer will require a little bit of repositioning after they finish up with these 6, but essentially we'll be repeating the process 8 times. First preparing the alternate fitting, then clean cutting the tubes that are capped off to allow for a good swage, but first measuring and straightening with the straightening tool, marking off with tape, putting into the fitting, and then swaging or pinching the tubes together.
Okay, they did 4 parts.
Here's the right one now.
Okay, you can put the red on.
Red's on.
And I have number 3. It's Charlie 6. Charlie 6.
Charlie 6 is good, Luca. All right. Next is wrench and loosen the VLI.
Look back to me.
Okay, I saw the VLI is tightened. 1 turn. Set that aside. Charlie 6. And next we're going to go ret to cap 3. And then Drew, get the clean cutter ready.
Clean cutter is prepped. That is in hand.
And clean cutter.
Clean cutter is aged there and set.
Okay, Drew, next you can get the straightener.
Copy in hand.
looks like this cut is unlocked, is locked.
Okay, let it go. Get back to me, the straightener. How's the ret length been on the straightener? Okay.
What's that?
The ret length on the straightener, okay?
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, Drew, tape.
Okay, plug and cap on their cap keepers.
Copy.
All right, Drew, tape.
Back a little bit. It's down here in this corner. Looks like it's the one that has Brian Mader's name on it.
All right, it's serial number 25. Brian Mader. So are you on my, somehow on my list?
No. You may be, hold on, stand by. I think it may be, let me see, is it the ingress aid? What are you feeling?
Or is it tube 7?
AMS?
Tube 7 is maybe touching your WVS, Luca.
Okay. Okay. I have the tape installed. Check with the outer gauge.
Okay, copy that.
No, I have to retape. It moved while I was doing it.
Okay, copy that.
Able to get it off completely?
Yeah, it's off completely, but I won't be able to re-put it.
Okay.
Certainly not representative of Mader's work. Amazing work on this project.
Not at all.
Next one is number 34.
LRC.
Well, let me put the strainer first, and then I'll.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first time it's happened to me. Yeah, I'm all the way in into the tube in the window. And I'm locking it in place. And now you can give me number 24.
You see it?
John Moharski. Okay, John, call out for you.
For a good swage, the tube has to be put into the alternate fitting, a very specific length, marked off by the Kapton tape, measured by the tube straightener, both in the hands of Luca Parmitano right now. Those precise measurements required for a good swage to make sure it's pinched at just the right point.
These one's on.
Parmitano just working to make sure that that measurement is precise.
Yeah, it's the tension on the ret of the tube strainer is messing me up.
Okay, I think we should put it on a ret to you then. I think that'll be that'll.
This is too short. Again. You don't have to come on a ret on me every time. So just do that right now. How many days do we have left?
Plenty.
Okay. Tube strainer is on me.
I'll give them a count just so they're, but let's see. 1, 2, 3. Like 11 or so.
Yeah, sorry guys, this is unexpected. I've seen this happen before. for the last time.
We know what you're trying to do. You're just trying to honor more people from the team.
Okay. I see the tube in the window. Tube straight and fully locked. Okay, Drew.
Okay. And you feel like there's no computing tension on that?
Well, I'm gonna lock it. I'm gonna lock it until I release it. Okay, which one?
Let's take this blank one here. That's 14 for now.
Okay, blank 14.
See that blank one? Yeah. The one next to it, if you see it, it's like it might tear, so we're not going to use that one.
Okay.
I won't let you grab it.
Okay, we'll use it as a spare. It is on. I can still see the window. Closing it up. And again, I'm going to double check it against the outside. Okay, now I have a good one. Right on the edge.
Okay. Let's line it up with the AAF.
Grab it again. AF 3.
Check the number, Luca. What do you got?
It was 3. Charlie 6.
Charlie 6.
Quarter range.
Copy.
Yeah, and I am about a quarter away. So I call it a good one.
Okay. Copy. You're a bit broken there. It sounded like a quarter inch. And your go to swage. Let's keep an eye on the tape. We can't see in your WVS, so let's make sure you monitor the tape. That tube 7 is in our way again.
Monitor the tape. Copy. Monitor the tape.
You're going to feel me on your swing arm here for a second.
Keep your ear down because I don't want to move.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, Luca, keep an eye on the tape. One turn on the swage. Looking for Charlie 6.
Actually, from this position, I see Bravo 7 and Alpha 8, which are equivalent.
Okay, copy. Bravo 7, that works.
I'm at Bravo 6. One more 8 return.
Copy.
It is good. At the flap of the reader, it's perfectly in front of my eyes.
Luca, I didn't actually copy your last.
it was just a matter of VCD. They couldn't quite see the corner range. But I have Bravo 7.
Okay.
Lined up.
Bravo 7. Take a pull test.
Yeah, and I can see the Hotel 1 double lines lined up. Tape is about a quarter of an inch to the food, and I have.
Okay, that's a good switch.
Tighten the VLI.
A-firm, go for it. And did you get a pull test, Luca?
Yes, I have a good pull test. Cycle the cap, closing the handle.
Here's the GoPro for the survey.
Okay. And just a quick GoPro survey, and then we'll move on.
Right there.
Okay, you can button that one up, Luca. Then we're on to the next one.
Work.
Halfway done at this work site. 6 tubes at the vertical support beam there. Tubes 6, 7, and 3 now complete.
Next one is number 1.
Okay. Drew, we need a ret for the plug. And if it's convenient, Luca, push that 7 out of the way again. Just got caught in your WVS. Helps us help you if we can see what you're doing.
Is that WVS for me, and is it helpful at all?
Drew, ready for with the.
Luca Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm, continuing to work through those procedures to swage or connect the tubes to the new pump box.
WVS, but it's not very useful for...
Andrew Morgan off to the side.
Go ahead, Luca.
Okay.
I have Foxtrot 7.
Working together to hand over the necessary tools for the tube connection process.
Support it with the wrench and open the VLI. I'll see you on the other side, about 30 seconds.
Copy.
We're in a short handover of video and audio communications from the International Space Station. Should be regaining audio very shortly. There's a live look at the inside of the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Teams here overseeing the procedures, talking with the crew aboard the International Space Station, and working through the repair of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. While we go through, we'll be answering questions using the hashtag AskNASA. We have one from Michelle, who's asking how the procedures for practicing the spacewalks and how the situations are simulated on the interior of the space station. Spacewalks themselves, basic skills, are practiced in a big pool called the Neutral Buoyancy Laboratory. It's a very deep pool, and inside can be full-scale mock-ups of the International Space Station. They practice general spacewalking techniques, but also had a chance to go in the pool, both Parmitano and Morgan, to practice some of the techniques for the alpha magnetic spectrometer. There's also an active gravity response offload system that also simulates a lack of gravity and allows them to practice on a more higher fidelity mock-up. Whereas being underwater, you have limitations on how detailed you can get with some of the mock-up abilities. For the interior of the space station, there's a few facilities where you can practice particularly the robotic arm that Jessica Meir is controlling. There's a virtual reality dome here at the space station to go through some of those techniques, as well as the many other techniques for the racks on the inside of the space station. regaining some of that video communication back for the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer spacewalk. Parmitano done with half of the tubes here at this worksite, working on tube 1. Now bringing out that clean cutter tool, turning the knob, and he'll essentially ratchet it slowly but surely to make a nice clean cut and allow for a good end to the tube, no pinching, a nice clean surface for the swaging process. There's an alternate fitting where the two can fit in nicely. Of course, after a little bit of straightening and marking off with Kapton tape to ensure it's just the right length to go into that swaging tool, or the alternate fitting. Parmitano completing this process 3 more times at this work site, then they'll maneuver to the next work site on the other side of the space of the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer for the last 2 tubes. He's working on tube number 1 at this work site. He has tubes 5 and 8. And then on the other side, he'll complete the swaging process with tubes 2 and 4.
Drew, next is the straightener. I guess it's on Luca now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to leave it on Luca because of that tension issue. Okay, cap is back to me. Well done, Luca. I know that's getting old. One in my hand.
Straightener.
Straightener's right there.
Nice clean cut for tube 1. Next will be to put it in the straightener, make sure it's nice and straight. It also serves as a measuring tool. So Parmitano will mark it off with some Kapton tape. That's that orange tape you see on some of the other tubes. And then it'll ensure how deep to put it into the alternate fitting for a good swage, where the tubes will be pinched together for a nice flow of carbon dioxide, which is the cooling, which is used to cool the alpha magnetic spectrometer.
Okay. This one right here. Put your right arm down a little bit. Put your right arm down. Number 11 there has Derek Porter's name on it.
Okay. Coming out. Derek Porter. Birthday belated.
Did you have something for me?
No, I just said tape was the last thing I called.
Okay, copy. Roger.
double check with the gauge. Hey, I'm about this one.
Say again, Luca.
So the tape was about 1 millimeter away from the edge.
Okay, copy. Every once in a while, your comm just breaks up. That's all.
So do yours.
No doubt. Okay, so let's make sure.
I got Foxtrot 7.
That's a good number, Luca. You go ahead to install it.
Okay, I'm inserted, and I am about, again, the typical quarter-inch away from the VLI handle. Make sure that there is no motion from the tape.
Okay, that looks good. Your go to swage. Keep an eye on the tape.
It's just a little tap from me, sorry.
Okay, keep an eye on the tape.
You see the eye on the tape? No motion on the tape.
Okay, you're going to Foxtrot 7, if that's what you can see.
Foxtrot 7. All right. At Foxtrot 7, lined up.
Okay, that's a good number, Luca.
The tape is about, ready to seal the VLI.
Okay, good. Let's get a good pull test first. I didn't hear if you got a pull test, Luca, before the VLI.
VLI tight.
So hang on.
Cap.
So hang on, Luca, 1 sec.
Cap.
Did you do the pull test before the VLI or not?
Yeah. I didn't mention it, but I did do the full test as soon as I finished staging.
Yeah, okay. That's what we were missing there. Okay, and now you've tightened the VLI, cycled the cap, and you can take a couple photos or quickly inspect it and close up the MLI.
It's GoPro.
Okay, GoPro video.
Okay, that's good.
Moving the handle. And covering with the VLI. Recovering with the MLI.
Fourth tube complete. Nice video survey. in reference to the VLI, that's the Visual Leak Indicator. That'll be used on the next spacewalk to ensure that each of the tubes has a good swage and that the carbon dioxide flows neatly through all of the tubes without any leaks. But for now, the clean cutting and the connecting of the tubes is the primary task for this spacewalk.
No change and dry half.
All right. Which tube is next?
Number 8.
Okay, we're ready for 8. Drew, we'll need a plug for the, or a ret for the plug, and we'll take a glove and hap from you as well.
Copy. I just checked my gloves. No change. They look still pristine. My hap is dry. I've got a ret ready.
Yeah, your procedure goes for 5 first, but it becomes a little easier if that's okay.
We have no preference. We're happy with 8.
Again, 6 tubes at this work site, 4 down, 2 to go. There's another 2 on the other side of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. Tubes 6, 7, 3, and 1 successfully swaged. Luca Parmitano on to number 8.
This one is number 8 again, and I have Bravo 4.
Okay, good numbers. And you're ready for the wrench. Open the VLI.
There is a red on the plug if we didn't call, so.
Copy. We're visual.
I have the plug back.
Okay, Bravo 4, confirm. Doesn't move.
Okay. Bravo 4, that's good. And just confirm you only got one turn of tightening that VLI, correct?
It's about 1.5, because otherwise it doesn't line up with the handle.
Okay. Drew, we'll need a ret for the cap and the clean cutter.
Clean cutter is set. And, yeah, or a ret for the cap.
Ret for the cap.
A good pace. Let's keep it up. Here's the clean cutter set.
Be set.
The space station and the 2 spacewalking astronauts now in an orbital nighttime, 263 statute miles over northern China. 3 hours into today's spacewalk. They're the 2 spacewalking astronauts a little bit ahead of the timeline. Now on the 5th of 6 tubes at this particular work site.
30 seconds, we'll be handing over, guys. We'll see you on the other side. And we're doing real good on timeline. We're staying on target. So we just got to keep up the pace, and we're going to be in great shape. we'll talk to you on the other side. And consumables are looking good. Oh, and we are 3 hours into the EVA, just for your SA.
Now another handover of video and audio communications from the station. Should be regaining audio communications shortly as Parmitano continues to clean cut the 5th of 6 tubes that are at this particular work site. There's 2 more on the other side. In the meantime, keep sending in your questions using the hashtag AskNASA. This next question comes from Anson, who's asking what kind of material goes into these tubes. The tubes they're cutting are stainless steel, but they're thin enough that they can be bent. A lot of testing on the ground and maneuvering of the tubes ensured that no matter really which way they're bent, the flow of carbon dioxide remains the same, so the integrity of the tubes themselves are retained. Keep sending in your questions using the hashtag AskNASA. In the meantime, regaining some of those video communications. This is the helmet camera of European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano. He'll be the helmet camera number 11, the translucent numbers at the bottom right there.
We're back with you. Looks like you're on to straightening.
That's correct.
The clean cut of that 5th tube is complete. Working through those same procedures to use the tube straightener to ensure that the end of the tube is straight and then marked off at the precise measurement with Kapton tape. That's that orange tape. And that'll be the marker for how far to put the tube into the alternate fitting. That alternate fitting can be used with a wrench to drive a bolt that swages the tubes or sort of pinches them. And that pinch will ensure a nice seal. Seals will be checked on the next spacewalk, but for now, the clean cutting and swaging continues.
Okay, verify that it's through the window. This fully in. Putting the tape on. And verify with the outer gauge. Okay, I'm right on the edge.
All right, Luca. Let's check the swage numbers and let's install it. We're looking, put it in number 8. Just for my own benefit here, that cap that's still remaining, that's 5, right, Luca?
Yes, sir. That's 5 on the cap, and I have 5 on the remaining AAS on the pump, other than the 2 that are still that are different
okay.
lines.
Sounds good. Check the pre-swage number.
Okay. Pre-swage that number from here. I see alpha 5 on the decoder ring.
Okay, that's good.
The tube is in. Tube is in. I have the typical quarter-inch.
Perfect. Okay, your go to swage.
Okay, I'm going to look to the sheet that the tape doesn't move.
Perfect. Those are my favorite words.
You have eyes to it, right? I have eyes on you.
Okay, that looks good. Keep an eye on the tape.
The tape is not moving. Entering levels Alpha 5, confirm.
Alpha 5.
To go the other way. Yeah, Alpha 5.
Okay, Alpha 5, let's get a pull test.
Good pull test. Typing the VLI. Cycle the cap. Crossing the VLI. Drew, you want to give it a view?
Yes.
Closing the handle.
Okay, nice job, Luca. One more to go at this work site. How are your hands holding up?
That's fine. So good.
Yeah, your visor.
Thanks. Sure. That's better. I forgot.
I've done it too.
Alright, number 5.
Okay, number 5.
Is this access to the A2?
Yeah.
With the 5th tube complete, that's tubes 6, 7, 3, 1, and 8, he's moving on to tube number 5. That'll be the 6th here at the vertical support beam work site, where 6 of the 8 tubes are to be swaged. The remaining 2 will be swaged on the other side of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. Same steps as before, removing the alternate fitting cap.
For 5, I have Bravo 8.
Okay, Bravo 8, we're expecting Bravo 1-8, right in between.
Yeah, it's, I concur, but I was battling between the two. I concur, it's Bravo 1-8.
All right, that's good. Go for wrench and then open the VLI.
So again, Parmitano will be setting up that alternate fitting, getting ready to receive the tube once it's clean cut. And then he'll move on to tube number 5, where he'll clean cut it, remove the cap. That cap will go over to Andrew Morgan standing by. He'll straighten the tube and mark it off with Kapton tape to measure the precise length that it will be inserted into the alternate fitting. And then he'll swage it to the alternate fitting. There's a little bolt there. He uses a wrench to swage or pinch the tube to the new fitting. And that'll complete the swaging process here at the vertical support beam work site. 6 tubes here. He's working on the 6th now. Again, there's 2 tubes on the other side of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. He'll perform the same steps there.
fully open. One turn.
Okay, that looks good, Luca. Drew, next we need a ret to the cap 5, and then clean cutter.
Okay, cap is going on. The red is going on, cap 5.
Cap 5 is ready.
Okay, and here's a clean cutter set.
Move his.
Nicely done, Luca. Next is straightening.
All right.
And Drew, next for you is the tape.
Five's on the cap keeper, plugs on the cap keeper.
Copy.
You ready for tape?
Yep. Got,
Who do we have?
Justin Cassidy.
Oh. Nice. Okay. Seal number 21. It's Mr. Justin Cassidy. Pitch is on. Check against the outsider tape. Each. And it's right on the edge.
Okay, Luca. Let's go ahead and insert it. Report the swage number prior.
Confirm the number. Okay, I have Bravo 18.
Okay, that's a good number.
push the tube straightener in my direction and I'll grab it from you. Send it down. Perfect, I got it.
Hey, Bravo 18, the tube went in all the way, less than a quarter inch of difference.
Okay.
And I'm ready to switch, and I'm going to make sure that there is no motion.
Okay. Good words, Luca. Your go. Drew, as he's doing that, the clean cutter is, if you have access to it, it's going back on the tool board. We'll get the wrench from Luca next. I know you're already taking care of the straightener. All right, Luca. Eye on the tape, and your go to switch.
Rush.
Eye on the tape. No motion.
Parmitano making that final connection, that final swage.
No motion on the tape. I have a good pull press. And I'm tightening the VLI.
Okay. Sounds good, Luca.
That VLI, that visual leak indicator, will be used on the next spacewalk to ensure that each of these tubes has a nice tight seal to it and carbon dioxide is flowing nicely through all of them.
Double check the numbers for me.
Bravo 18.
Okay, Bravo 18.
And I thought maybe you have it in there, that's WVS, but it's not. You're taking a view with the camera.
All right. That's good, Luca. Take that photo, then you can pass the wrench to Drew, close up the MLI, and then we'll take a few more closeout photos before you leave.
Yep. Sure.
That MLI is multi-layer insulation. It's that white cover that's going over the alternate fitting in the tubes.
Did you want the MLI over the scrunchies?
All 6 of them complete now.
Just a tiny bit of overlap is ideal, Luca. We just don't want any exposed metal.
Number 7 is the only one. Okay, very close.
You can flick the wrench down my direction.
Drew, while you're on the tool board, ideally we'll close the bunny ears on the clean cutter just to make sure nothing gets in there.
Closed.
Thank you.
Weed, I was going to suggest that if Luca could start to get tubes 2 and 4 mobilized out from behind the vacuum case handrail, it'll help me a lot.
Okay. We're good with that.
My GoPro back on his wing arm.
Oh, Roger, I'll do it. Okay, it's on swing on.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to take close-up pictures here. And then I'll pass you the tubes.
All you need to do is, I think, just get them a little bit freed up. That's it. Shine some extra light in there.
Yeah.
Parmitano and Morgan taking a survey of the worksite. All those 6 tubes swaged at this worksite.
3 hours, 20 minutes in, looking good.
So the first thing, Luca, is I think if we get the tubes from, it looks like 6 and 7, make sure they're free of 2 and 4. And then if we can get those AS, yep, just watch from there. That looks good. Let's not uncoil anything just yet, because I got to get over there. Keep them deconflicted from each other.
How about that? Look.
Yeah, and then let's take 6 and 7 and tuck them back down and away. Great. And then what other ones could be just a little loop of 5 maybe up. And then the long tails of those long wire ties hanging down. We just tuck those back to the side a little bit. I want that tube 1 cut area there. That tube 1 area.
I got it.
That's great. All right.
Okay.
All right, Luca, we're ready to get you on your way.
Yes, ready.
It's just AF right there at your helmet.
And Jessica, whenever you're ready, I'm ready for your motion.
Save us GoPro time. I'm going to turn your GoPro off for now.
Legally we don't. We have plenty of time.
Okay.
VLOS.
Are you there?
We are here with you. We're ready to come back to all zeros from the GCA.
Yep, we're ready.
Okay, copy. We'll put that in work. Okay, Luca, first thing I'm going to do is pull you out away from the work site.
Okay, copy.
Starting motion.
Motion.
Copy, continuing.
The voice you're hearing now is from Jessica Meir.
The next movement, we'll be taking out that pitch, so we'll be pitching you back.
Jessica Meir on the inside of the space station at the controls of the robotic arm. Luca Parmitano at the end of that robotic arm. She'll be working to maneuver Parmitano to the next work site now that the swaging of the 6 tubes at this work site is complete. They've already installed the pump and connected the 6 tubes here. You can see 2 of the other tubes dangling, number 4 and number 2. They'll work to route that to the nadir side, that's the opposite side.
Next, we're going to take out that roll, so I'll be...
And then from there, they'll work to start swaging on the other side of the space station.
Yeah, copy.
I can monitor that.
Pull the ingress aid towards your...
Yeah, the roll is not the issue anymore, Jessica. It's the pump, and I realize.
A-firm, we concur. It'll be the boot plate to AMS. Starting that roll now.
Eyes on the clearance. Clearance is good.
Okay, Luca, next I'm going to be moving you body down.
Copy.
Okay, stand by, Jessica. So this one is one where clearance to the boot plate is an issue, so we're going to take a foot shot.
Okay, copy that. And ready for motion?
Ready for motion.
Okay, and just to confirm, Drew, body down meaning toward Luca's feet.
Copy.
Okay, starting motion.
Right, good motion and good clearance.
Copy.
Okay, give me a little lean forward. Okay, good clearance.
And Luca, now I'm going to be bringing you to your left.
Okay, and that's my shoulder to the pump. I'll lean back a little bit and you're clear.
Okay, starting motion.
From the helmet camera of Andrew Morgan, you can see Luca Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm, maneuvered by Jessica Meir at the hands of the controls for the station's robotic arm, maneuvering Parmitano to his new work site. On the other side, the nadir side, that's the side that faces the Earth, of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. There's 2 more tubes to continue this swaging process. They'll need to first route those 2 tubes that are still attached to the new pump system. They have a little bit of a longer reach, so they'll need to route it to the other side to make the connections there.
One more input for you. We're going to be taking out the rest of that roll.
Okay, copy.
Drew, again, that'll be the boot plate to AMS.
Copy.
Starting motion.
Motion, good clearance.
Copy.
Parmitano continuing to move on the end of the station's robotic arm as the space station passes 268 statute miles right over New Zealand into an orbital sunrise.
Okay, Luca, we are back to all zero, so give us a second to switch modes here, and then we will be doing a back-off maneuver.
Copy.
Okay, Luca, I'm going to be performing this last maneuver. It'll be moving you away from the work site, stationator.
Copy.
Okay, starting motion.
Station Nadir. Lean forward, Luca. Lean way forward. There you go. Good. That's good. Hold on. Okay, we're good. Good clearance. Watch your right elbow now. There you go. That's good. Good clearance. Far to go, Jess.
Okay, we are at position hold now. Okay, and one more mode switch.
You're looking from the perspective of Andrew Morgan. He's helmet camera 18. You see at the bottom right of your screen there. Getting a good look at Luca Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm. Morgan helping Parmitano to position himself accurately as Mir continues to pull him out from this worksite. Next movement will be a meter out.
Okay, starting motion.
Station at 1 meter. So I just, yeah, push. Hang on 1 second, Jessica. I need to have you slide the swing arm back. Yeah, the swing. I can do it for you. All right, and then lean back just a touch. And tell me what in Luca's coordinate this is going to be, or the station coordinate. Do one more time, just so I can see the direction.
Mostly toward Luca's feet. It'll be station aft.
Okay, towards his feet.
That way.
Okay, just a little bit of a lean to your left, and then Jessica will have the clearance.
Okay, copy.
Okay.
Yep.
How about that?
That's good.
Okay. All right, Jessica.
Okay, starting motion.
Push your light back in. Okay. Good motion, good clearances. Clearances are getting better.
Copy, Drew.
Luca, lean back a little bit. Show me your left arm.
A good view of Parmitano as he's getting pulled out from his work site where he swaged or connected 6 tubes. He's got 2 more to go. He'll be tilted a little bit downwards to position himself at the bottom of the alpha magnetic spectrometer and connect those last 2 tubes.
And he is clear of ELC2, clear of AMS. You have a visual on him again?
Not completely, but we see most of him except for his head.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, Luca, we are ready for motion, and it'll be 1.5 minutes.
Copy.
Starting motion.
Okay, Drew, I think we can pick up some of the comm here. So the RET plus adjustable for caps 2 and 4. We want to stage that at the diagonal beam handrail. And then the next thing we can do is pick up the inventory of crew lock bag 3.
Okay, copy. Now the two caps will end up back in crew lock back 3, is that right?
That's right, Drew.
The main caps. Okay. I'm thinking that maybe it'll be simpler if I just leave it attached to the, rather than stage it on the diagonal beam handrail. I could leave it attached to the bag. I think I'll be able to manage it if you guys are all right with that.
Bags are your thing. We wouldn't question you.
Okay, and then let's do the inventory on bag 3 when you're ready.
Hit it.
Okay.
Mission hold, Luca, getting set up for the next maneuver.
Copy.
Okay, starting at the handle at the 12 o'clock position, I've got integral to an adjustable with cutting guides, and there is an extra small ret on there that we used to stage it on the diagonal beam handrails. And I have another integral to a cap keeper. On that cap keeper, I have 6 caps.
Luca, starting motion, 2 minutes course.
Copy.
From the helmet camera of Morgan, he's doing an inventory of his bag. You can see some of the caps, the more circular items there that were removed from the previous work of clean cutting the tubes and connecting them to the new pump system. Doing an inventory of that while Jessica Meir continues to maneuver Luca Parmitano to his new work site to swage or connect the remaining 2 tubes.
I have the small ret to an adjustable that's waiting to receive 2 and 4. On the outside, I have a small ret and a large small ret. So that's on you, Wade.
Yeah, sounds like we got everything large, small on the outside of the bag, you said?
I have a small, and a large, small.
Okay, so close all that up. Keep the adjustable on the ret outside the bag for caps 2 and 4, but then close everything else up, and we won't have to inventory that bag again.
Position hold, Luca, we'll be loading the next showcast.
Copy.
Jessica Meir continuing to move Luca Parmitano at the end of the arm.
We were noticing more dropouts on Luca's comm than we're used to at the VSB worksite. We were wondering if it's a comm issue to the ground or if you were noticing the same thing.
Negative. I'm not, in terms of you're hearing garbled comm or your dropouts, I'm not experiencing that.
Okay, that's what we were looking for. Thanks.
Parmitano waiting for that next movement.
Luca, starting motion, 3.5-minute showcast.
3.5.
That movement underway now. Luca Parmitano making his way to the next work site. In the meantime, while he's
Take a glove and hap check from you on your way to the work site.
While he's navigating to the next work site, keep sending in your questions using the hashtag AskNASA. This next one comes from Sonnet, who's asking that Luca Parmitano is at the end of the cannon arm, but how is Andrew Morgan getting around? Parmitano, being at the end of the robotic arm, has access to some of the best locations for doing some of the swaging techniques. Andrew Morgan was able to translate or move by hand over to a work site adjacent to Luca Parmitano. He has a bag in tow with many of the tools, and is essentially working as hand in hand with Luca Parmitano to give him the necessary tools, as Parmitano has the correct angle. There is a portable foot restraint that Andrew Morgan is using to allow him to use both of his hands.
To grab the tube behind it and not the AAF itself.
Copy. Copy.
Okay, Drew, next thing's for you. Well, go ahead, Drew.
Negative, go ahead.
Okay, so we're staging the following for the Nadir worksite: the tool board, those cap keepers we talked about. Sounds like that's already taken care of. You're going to need your mini workstation RET for the plugs. We should have the same camera set up as before. With we can use the GoPro on Luca, and then you wanted to talk about considering staging the MLI.
Yeah, I think that might be could be a good time to do that.
Okay, and then are you planning to roll your APFR to hotel?
Yep, I'm gonna that now. I just want to make sure I have the MLI with me when I do.
Yeah, okay. I think that's all we needed to get ready.
Okay, Luca, this is position hold. We're going to get switched over for a manual maneuver.
Copy.
Andrew will be expecting you to help us with clearances.
Okay, stand by then, Jess. I need to roll the APFR into position. Okay, I'm in position. So I'm ready for your GTA, ready for clearances for you, Jess.
Yeah, we're still getting set up for a manual maneuver, and we'll have 2 manual maneuvers before we start GTA.
Okay, roger. Be in position.
Luca Parmitano still at the end of the station's robotic arm. You see Andrew Morgan off to the side. He'll begin routing cables when Parmitano is in position. A few more movements to go. In the meantime, we'll continue to answer hashtag Ask NASA questions. This one comes from Nico, who's asking about checking Luca's gloves periodically and what other equipment needs to be looked at. You'll notice glove and hap checks throughout today's spacewalk. They'll continue to look at their gloves and inspect for any damage to the gloves. A lot of work, in fact, all of the work, done by the astronauts is done by the gloves. The HAP is a helmet absorption pad. In the event of a leak, it would be able to absorb water. But what they'll do is they'll report the integrity of the gloves, and then they'll say that their HAP is dry. In the meantime, Jessica Meir confirming that next movement of Luca Parmitano over to the worksite. From the helmet camera of Andrew Morgan, you can see his tool bag. There's a blanket that's on the end there. That is the Nadir Blanket. It's a multi-layer insulation that'll be used to cover the Nadir worksite, or the worksite that they're going to now, which is on sort of the bottom of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. They'll use that blanket to cover the worksite once their work is complete with the swaging. Again, 2 more tubes to swage or connect to the new pump system. Parmitano maneuvering to that position to work on those 2 tubes as we speak. A short handover in communications. As the tracking and data relay satellites, these are geosynchronous satellites.
To fly you back over to that last known Nadir worksite.
We still have audio communication. Visual should be regained shortly. In the meantime, Jessica Meir continuing to move Luca Parmitano at the end of the Canadarm2 into position. The space station currently flying 264 statute miles over the South Pacific Ocean on a northeasterly course approaching the southern border of Peru. In the meantime, continue to send in questions using the hashtag AskNASA. You're getting a live look at the inside of the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Teams here led by Flight Director Emily Nelson. The voice you're hearing is Jeremy Hansen. The ground IV, he's the one here in the room relaying the information from the teams over to the 2 spacewalking astronauts today.
And we'll be tracking those clearances. None for you, Drew, but overall we'll always take anything you got for us.
Copy.
Okay, starting motion. Next, we're going to be going body up about 15 centimeters, and Drew, for you, you'll be watching Luca to the AMS.
Yeah, copy. Say 15 centimeters. Okay, copy.
Okay, starting motion. Okay, there's the 15.
Okay.
Next maneuver will be pitching you down, Luca, about 14 degrees.
15 degrees, his head towards the Nadir worksite, correct?
I'm pitching down toward the worksite.
Okay. Good at that? Yeah. Pitching down, all right. Yeah. I have the clearance here, the AMS. Pull your ingress aid in a little bit. Okay, we're ready for motion when you are.
Starting motion.
Clearance is good. I got eyes on them all.
Copy. Okay, Luca, now I'm going to be bringing you body in 30 centimeters.
Copy.
How's your head alignment relative to the UMA cables there?
It looks good to me. I have, so this is the edge of my head. I have about 15, 20 centimeters.
Okay.
Okay, and you guys both ready for that?
Ready.
Ready.
Okay, starting motion. Okay, Luca, this is the position that you were in. Let us know if you need anything else.
I think it looks like you're a little further than you were.
Yeah, I feel much further.
Okay, what do you think you need?
With the lean, I mean, go back to neutral again. I'll tell you, I estimate what, and pull the ingress aid in a little bit, and I'll look at its clearance relative to the radiator. Pull the ingress aid just a little bit. Yeah, okay. And then give me the hang loose measurement there with your hands. Yeah, okay. I would say if we can do body in 30 centimeters, I think that might help. What do you think?
And also a little bit of up.
Okay, up makes, yeah, we can. Not as much though. I mean, maybe we could do 15 up, and then body in maybe another 30.
Well, can you teach me in, or is this going to make the arm release? Because if she can teach me in, and he can just go body up.
For our clearances, body in would be better.
Okay, then let's go body in and body up.
Okay, we'll start with body in, and was that about 30 centimeters, or are you reevaluating?
Yeah, 30 be good.
Okay, and Drew, you've got his clearance to AMS.
I have it. I have the clearances.
Okay, starting body in, and I'll give you 30. You can call stop early. Starting motion.
Parmitano and Morgan, the two spacewalking astronauts, working with Jessica Meir and Christina Cook on the inside of the station, working at the controls of the robotic arm, getting that precise angle for accessing the work site. You can see one of the silver caps there. That's one of the tubes that they cut on the previous spacewalk to prepare for today's swaging activities. They'll repeat the same techniques that they used on the vertical support beam work site to cut and swage these remaining two tubes.
Try for 10. You're going to need to lean toward me.
Okay, I'll take 10.
Copy 10. Starting motion, body up.
Just getting that precise angle. Once they do, that swaging will take place. Andrew Morgan routing those tubes over to where those silver caps are. They'll perform a clean cut, and then the swage, there'll be a particular fitting. Well, they'll fit the tube in with a nice clean cut and pinch them together to connect the carbon dioxide cooling tubes.
All right, Drew, you can grab those tubes and we'll route them down through the opening.
Copy.
Okay, reminder for you, Luca, another one about the loads into those tubes, so just to protect the ACC cables.
Copy.
And Luca and Drew, we had you routing both tubes at this time. As long as they're not going to be in your way, Luca, we'll try and get both of them through that passageway.
you have a preference, Luca? Which?
What do you mean?
Which first? Or do you want both?
Just say to pass them both, but you can pass either one at a time. And
okay. The one I have in my hand first is 2.
Okay.
A little straight on it.
From the helmet camera of Andrew Morgan, you can see his position closer to the new pump box with all of the different tubes coming out. He's going to route tube number 2, which he has in his hand, and tube number 4 over to Luca Parmitano on the other side. You see him with the caps on the other side. He'll work to do the same thing that he did with the other 6 tubes. Prepare the alternate fitting, cut the tube, straighten it, mark it with tape, and then connect them together.
Better BRT position here.
These tubes allow carbon dioxide to flow through the alpha magnetic spectrometer and cool the system, which is collecting billions of particles, cosmic rays, and other particles from the cosmos. The cooling system is an added redundancy and an upgraded system that will allow the alpha magnetic spectrometer to continue to collect particles through the life of the International Space Station.
Tell me when you get eyes on
right now, you need to try to pull it. Okay, I got it. I got number 2.
Okay. Tell me how much more slack you need me to feed out.
It's hard to say. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna have you go on this side of the cable. Okay, this is gonna be good.
Okay. You got a little bit more slack. And hold on, don't pull. So MLI is kind of near that cut tube 1, and I see it, and I'm clear of it, but I just want to make sure that MLI is not in contact with it.
That MLI is the multi-layer insulation, the white blanket around the tubes.
I could use some more. This will do.
Okay, that's it.
This will do. Yeah, this is going to be good enough for.
Nearly 4 hours into today's spacewalk, routing the tube number 2 over to Luca Parmitano, currently in his hands. Tube number 4 will be coming next. Parmitano will perform the same techniques he used on the other side of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, preparing that alternate fitting you see at the end of the tube there, next to the cap. He'll clean cut the cap right off, of course attaching a tether to make sure it doesn't float away. He'll straighten it, mark it with tape, and then connect it to the tube, now routing tube number 4 over. With the tubes routed, Morgan will be able to reposition and hand Parmitano the necessary tools he needs.
I'll make it work.
Currently in the hands with with access from Drew Morgan.
I'm ready for the setup. The setup is good. I'm ready to start.
Okay, Luca. At some point, we got to get the rets on the caps And then what we're planning to do is clean cut both of the tubes first, but you can prepare your first AAF. So whichever one you want to swage first, you can prepare that AAF.
We're going to assembly number 2.
Okay. So you can open the MLI sleeve. We're going to need to ret to that plug.
Okay, when I leave these open, and for you, I have Bravo 7.
Bravo 7 is good, Luca.
Copy.
So ret to the plug, and then we'll need the wrench.
Do I rest to it myself, or do I wait for Drew to rest to it?
Yeah, I'm getting repositioned back to the HFR.
Take your time, Drew.
You're hearing Jeremy Hansen, who's here in Mission Control Houston, talking with the crew, working them through their